Hey y'all, welcome back to Crafted Cakes and Desserts. So today I will be telling y'all what happened to me when I first started making cakes. So it was a disaster, y'all, like for real. It was a disaster. This was my first wedding cake. And this is my niece. So this is my husband's niece. So it was family, but it was a disaster. So let me tell y'all from the beginning. So she contacted me about doing her wedding cake. I cannot remember what month she got married, but if I remember, I put it up somewhere here. And so I said, okay, I'm excited because this is my first wedding cake. And I'm like, okay, this is gonna be great. Like, this is gonna be the best wedding cake ever. And it wasn't. So this is what happened. I did her cake and the groom's cake. So I had already made the groom's cake. It was just a chocolate cake, vanilla icing, and it had the ganache drip with the chocolate covered strawberries. Very simple. I set that in the refrigerator. Everything's good. So then I'm getting ready to start on her cake, and she wanted lemon. I think it was lemon. I know for sure it was honey bun, vanilla. I'm thinking lemon. I'm not 100% sure, but I'm like 80% sure it was lemon. Anyway, that's not the point. So I made her bottom tier. She had a 10-inch, an 8-inch, and a 6-inch. So I had already made the 10-inch, and it was fine, you know. So I made her 8-inch. It was fine. And all of that is in the refrigerator. I think it was some of the 8-inch too that was messed up. But let me finish the story. So I am so when you making a wedding cake, which is something I didn't know, I was just starting off, so I waited late to make it, like probably the day before. Or so she got married on that Saturday. I think I started like that Thursday. Now mind you, full-time job and coming home trying to make a cake, which I should have started earlier. But hey, you just learning. And then back then, all fresh cake. The cake needs to be cooked. Either the day of, the day before, and that's all I read. But then you don't say that when you getting cakes from Walmart or Kroger or any of these other grocery stores that flash freeze cakes, and no telling how long ago they were cooked. But anyway, so that's in my mind, you know, like fresh cake. I don't need to make this cake too far in advance. So I did the 10-inch, made the 8-inch, and I cooked the 6-inch. So I did the frostings and all that. So now it was time to actually make the cake. Now what she wanted is, she sent me a picture, and I'll post what the cake she sent me, or close to it, of what she wanted. This cake was 4 tiers, and it had strawberries cascading down the cake. Oh, pretty cake, simple. I was like, okay, I can do this. So about time I got ready to actually frost the cakes, our air went out in the house. It went out. So no matter what I did, the only cakes that were good was the ones that were already in the refrigerator, frosted, you know. But that top tier, which it was the 6-inch, and that middle tier, it was kind of iffy. But the most was that top tier cake. It was a disaster. Every time I took it out of the refrigerator, now mind you, fresh, fresh, fresh. So I'm doing this a little before. I can't remember if the wedding was at 1 or 2. So I'm making this cake a few hours before, like putting everything together a few hours before the wedding started. And the air goes out. Like, it goes out. So it instantly got hot in the house. So what happens when you have butter and heat? It melts. So I'm trying my best to make the sides of the cake smooth, and it just would not go. It would not budge. And I'm crying. I started crying. I started crying. Yes, I started crying. And my husband was like, it's going to be okay. Just come on. We're going to go ahead, get in the car, and get to the venue. Now, it was a disaster. So I sat in the back with the cake, looking at it, still crying on the way. So it was only about 10 minutes away from our house. And still crying, still upset, because I'm like, in my mind, I'm like, this cake was supposed to be perfect, you know, but then this is what I get. And I think if I would have started earlier, like the mind I have now, if I had it then, the cake would have been perfect. But on my way to the venue, we finally make it. First of all, we late as heck. Late as heck. If the wedding started at 1 or 2, I know we were about an hour and a half late. That's how late we were. So they didn't get started with the reception until we got there. And so that made it even worse, because they waited on the cake to come, because she had her reception and her wedding in the same area. So they was like, we want to, wait on the cake to come. Make it. I was like, okay, I think if we can get to the venue and I put the cake in the refrigerator for a little while, at least for about 20 minutes, to firm up that buttercream a little more, where I can smooth it out, I will be fine. Get there to the venue. The refrigerator is packed with stuff. What stuff? I have no idea, because I don't even think they used all of it for the wedding. It was packed. I couldn't stick a fork in their refrigerator. That's how packed it was. So when I saw that, instantly cried. Instantly, again, cried. Luckily, these were family. They were family. So when they came back there, my husband trying to console me, like, it's okay. It's going to be okay. His aunts and stuff, his mom coming in, like, it's okay. It looks fine. I was like, no, it's not. It's ugly. I can't get it to do anything that I wanted to do. It melted. My air went out. Everything. It was horrible. So I was thinking, like, okay, because they still waiting on me at this time. I'm like, what can I do to make this cake a little more presentable? And I thought of it. I was like, maybe I can have it, instead of a smooth finish, maybe since it's already jacked up, I could make it look more rustic. So I got my offset spatula and I just started going around the cake, doing all types of things just to make it look like it's supposed to look like that. And then time for the strawberries to go on there. So there was some nice chunk of strawberry. Like, they were pretty big. And now I had already dipped those, so that was fine. But when it came to me actually placing the strawberries on the cake, they fell down. They fell down. Like, no matter what I did, because the buttercream was already soft, then plus the weight of the strawberries, I was like, you know what? What can I do about these strawberries? I wasn't going to have them cascading anymore because they were too big and the buttercream was too soft. So what I did was I said, okay, whatever strawberries I can get.
What?
You move the camera. So whatever strawberries I could get on this cake, that's what we're going to get. Like, so I just put the strawberries around the bottom of the cake. Took it out there, and the family was like, oh, the cake is so pretty. It's so pretty. And I'm still looking like, no, it's not. Like, I'm still sad. And you could, my eyes red because of all the crying I was doing. And what really made me feel better, it wasn't the cake that she wanted. But what made me feel better was she was understanding, which is my niece, and the family was understanding. Like, and this something she paid for, you know, this your wedding. Like, you want everything to be spectacular, and the cake wasn't, you know. So after she told me that, you know, I still like it, you know, I started feeling a little better. But if you can tell, this was 6 years ago. So, and I'm still talking about it. I still didn't like it. Like, that was the worst cake I had ever done. To me, was the worst cake I had ever done. The worst. And I wouldn't wish that on any new decorator, new cake decorator, because that's a bad feeling. Now, what if it was somebody else, you know, that wasn't so understanding, you know? So this my story when it comes to that. Like, I don't have many, but that was one of the ones I do remember, even from 6 years ago. And I pray I would never go through that again. I know that we will have times where we will have to try to push through it and try to fix it the best way we can, because nothing's perfect. But I still won't want to go through anything like that. I just wouldn't. So y'all just let me know in the comments what y'all thought about this story, and let me know if y'all ever been through anything like this. So
Dang!
yeah, you got a bucket of water poured on you, didn't it? Make sure you like, comment, and subscribe.
Let me say that. Make sure you comment, like, and subscribe, and make sure you turn the notifications on.
Yes, what she said. And I'll see y'all in the next video. See y'all.